Hi, I'll be doing a demo on the 3 different types of virtual networks you could set up using VMPlayer. And I'm going to be doing that using my desktop network here, which is on a different network than the network that I'm going to be setting up for these 2 VMs that I have. So let me start by showing you the different types of settings that I could configure here. So it's going to be bridged, NAT, host only, and custom networks. So I'll be doing the bridged first on this VM. And when I do the bridged and I go to ipconfig, you'll notice the IP address here is 10.33.55.3, and that is actually the same network as my desktop. So that's the first type of network, is basically sharing the same network that you have on your desktop. And if I ping that virtual machine, you'll see it pings. And if I ping my desktop machine, which has an IP address, so right here I'm on my desktop machine. If I scroll all the way up, you'll notice my desktop IP address is 10.33.55.2. So I'll ping that. And this is just to demonstrate it communicates back and forth. It's on the same network. So that's the first type of network, is the bridge network, which is just sharing the same network as your desktop. I'm going to go to NAT now, and I'm going to click OK, and you'll see in the bottom here it's reconfiguring the network. So okay, it looks like it's all set, and when I do ipconfig, you'll notice now it's on a different network with a different IP. And if I just want to show that what I'm getting here is just the DHCP, and I'll show you later behind the scenes what VMware Player is actually doing and what actually causes it to give out these IP addresses. But for now, I just want to show that that's using DHCP, same as what I did with my bridge network. And right now it's grabbing a 192.168.6.100 network. And when you install VMPlayer, it's actually going to pre-configure the network subnet that you're going to be at. For me, it's actually 192.168.6, and it's actually random, or maybe it uses some type of method on different machines for different install. So if I uninstall this and I reinstall it, it might be something other than 6. And I'll show you later how to actually, or maybe even in another video, how to actually change that and configure it the way you want to configure it. But for now, I just want to show you that this is the network address translation, the NAT, and I have the same thing set up in this other VM. So this is also NAT, and you'll see that I'm also using DHCP here. And if I do IP config, you'll notice it's 6.101, and this one's 6.100, and I could ping. So if I ping that machine, 192.168.6.101, you'll notice it's pinging this machine. And obviously if I ping 192.168.6.100, you notice it's pinging this machine. And if I ping this, you'll notice it's pinging one of the VMs, and obviously it could ping the other VM. So from my desktop here, I could ping both of the, I could reach both of the VMs, and the VMs can also reach my desktop. So that's what network address translation does. And if you look very closely here, because I'm going to show the difference later between this NAT and the host only, you'll notice in my gateway here, my default gateway actually has an IP address. The gateway is 2, and I'll show you where that's configured later when you do the installation for VMPlayer. So that's the demonstration for NAT. Now if I go to host only, and let me clear this and wait for it to configure. So it's reconfiguring the network here. It's just spinning. And let me just wait for a little bit longer before I do IP config all. It'll still grab an IP address here. And the point I want to make, let me jump back in here. This particular one I didn't change. It's still using NAT. So I could actually reach the internet here with both NAT and bridging, and obviously using the bridge network, because this actually goes outside of the virtual network that I set up. So let me just go to Google. Whereas this host only one actually will not. So let me wait a little bit here. Okay, so this one's done, and hopefully you'll follow me because I'm jumping a little bit back and forth here, but I just want to do this as quickly as possible. Okay, so I was having a little bit of trouble with IE, so I had to install Chrome here. So you'll notice the IP address here is the network address translation, and when I bring up Chrome, you'll notice I could reach the internet. So the point about this is with the default gateway, when there's traffic outside of the network, that is outside of the 192.168.6 network, it knows to go through the gateway and actually go outside of the network. So that is the point of network address translation. Now if I go here to the third type of network, which is this host only, you'll notice there is no network connection here. And let me configure this to be host only also. So it hasn't gotten its IP yet. You'll notice the network address now changed. It's a different subnet. It's 192.168.159 network. Same with this one now. This one is also a 159 network, and the IP address is 128, and this one's 131. And you'll notice I could ping on the same network, but with the host only, I can't get out of the network, but I could get in. So because you'll notice here there's actually no gateway anymore. So that's the difference between the three configurations, between the bridge, NAT. So this pings to this, and this will also ping to that other VM, 159.130, 128. Actually, I mixed it up. So this one should be 131. So this is pinging that, that's pinging this. And you'll notice I'm on my desktop here now, and I could actually ping both of these. That is, I could actually reach both of those networks. So I could reach this one, 128. But if you notice because there's no gateway outside of the network here, if I try to ping my desktop, I just can't. And same with this one, it's on the same network. Right, I can't ping outside of the network. I can't reach outside of the network. So this one is isolated. It really is isolated. It can't get to the outside world. And why is that? Well, if you go behind the scenes, if I have this tool here called vmnetcfg, which is the virtual network editor. Let me bring that up. So this isn't actually available in VmPlayer for VmPlayer. I actually had to extract this out of download a VM Workstation 10 and extract it. So I'll explain this in another video. So you'll notice it's actually the configuration here of the networks that you're using in the settings here. So that's what this is. So you'll see the NAT settings, and that's where the 6 comes from. DHCP settings. So you'll notice I start at 100 here. And if I bring up services, you'll notice the VM player is using this DHCP and NAT translation service. So that's where that comes from. I'll explain that a little bit more in another video. I just want to show you an overview. So with these custom networks, this VmNet0 is actually no different than bridged. And this is the host only, which is the same thing as the one up here. And the NAT is the same thing as the network address translation that you pick up here. And then there's these other virtual networks that you could set up using the VM editor. And I'll explain that later in another video. So that's really about it. So hope you learned the difference between the three networks, and it'll help you in creating your own virtual network. Thank you for watching.